All right, here we go. It is another round of the Elimination Chamber, but today we have to do the damage to somebody else.
Yes.
Today, it is Retro Reminiscence's turn to jump in the hot seat. Welcome to the channel, brother. How's it going?
How's it going, fellas? I'm just hanging out, trying to enjoy the weekend, and hopefully you guys got some hard-hitting questions for me.
Yeah,
we do.
I think your ass is going to be sweating on some of these, so it's going to be a good time. But we appreciate you coming on, and we're going to kick this thing off because we know we've watched your channel. We know a little bit about what you're into, and I think your nostalgia really spans over the 80s and 90s, kind of hones in that area. So I got to ask,
Definitely.
You have to pick one. The 80s or the 90s, and you can't access stuff from the prior generation with whatever one of these you go with.
Oh, Lord. That's a tough question right off the rip.
Yep. Started off tough.
Oh. I'm just looking around like, oh, no, the Super Nintendo was in the 90s. So I'm like super torn. Oh, man, the 80s were incredible. The movies, it's like certain aspects I loved in each era.
Yeah.
More than the other. If I had to, oh man, I'm trying to think here because there's like so many good movies, so much good music.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just wiped away if I could only pick
Yeah.
one.
Video games.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to go the 1990s.
Wow,
Okay.
The Super Nintendo was enormous for me. The Sega Genesis. I love the Nintendo, as you can see, but man, the music in the 90s, the grunge scene, the alternative, the
Hell
rap,
yeah.
man, there were so many great things about the 90s. I love the 80s movie. That's hard to pass up. I'm a huge Stallone fan, so
Oh, yes, dude.
I'm gonna have to go the 1990s.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I would probably go the same way, and I think you had a really good conundrum there because I would take 80s movies over 90s movies, but I would take 90s music over 80s music, so it's really tough.
That's a tough one.
Man, I didn't think that was gonna come out.
All
I got-
right. We're going to dig deep here. We know you've got nostalgia for both these things, and you're not just a video game collector, you're also a toy collector.
Yes.
But this question doesn't just center around toys. It centers around the entire franchise for these respective buckets. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or G.I. Joe.
I know you love them both.
Oh, Lord. Oh, man, that's tough.
You just got the Ninja Turtle van, didn't you?
Yeah, I actually have, from the original Playmates line, I have the 88s, the 89s, and the 90s all mint on card. For Ninja Turtles.
Nice.
So, man, that's tough. But as for G.I. Joe, from the 82 to 94 run, I'm only missing like 14 figures.
Damn,
So,
man.
Damn.
Man, Turtles was huge for me growing up. The movies weren't, the first two movies were incredible.
Oh, they're so good.
It's weird because, like, I was so into the early Turtles, like, right when they first came out, finding them on the pegs was nearly impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy how in 2022, you go there and you can barely find the Walmart ones now. Like, it's the same feeling. You just can't find them.
Yep.
Man, that's tough. I'm looking at them on the wall right now, and I'm just like, and then I'm looking at all my Joes in the case. I think I'd have to go with G.I. Joe.
What?
Dang.
You think of G.I. Joe?
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe! I had to pick G.I. Joe. I grew up playing a lot of the G.I. Joes. I didn't have a ton, but some of the ones that I did have, I actually have a couple of them. That's the only thing that has survived my childhood. I don't have one single game that survived. And I have about 20 G.I. Joes that are just loose limbs and just paint wear like hell.
Yeah.
And they lasted. So I got them in the case. And just the times I used to play with my uncle and we just had a great time with them. The vehicles, that toy line is incredible.
Oh, it's hammer.
There's so many cool things with it.
I mean, if you really dig deep in it, it's just the stuff that they were doing back then with the articulation. Like, they saw what Star Wars did and were like, you know what, we can bring something out with the same, 3 3/4 scale.
Yep.
But let's make these limbs, posable. Let's make these things articulation. So that really put it over the top, because they had tons of weapons. If you ever collect G.I. Joes, they have tons of weapons that go with them. And I mean, some of them, you'll find a knife this big, it's $150. Like,
for a piece of plastic.
They're insane. So I'd have to take G.I. Joe. I love G.I.
I knew that would be tough. I'm a little surprised. I thought you were going to probably go Turtles, I love hearing the backstory as to why.
Here we go. I know you love both these consoles. They're both from the 90s.
Okay.
You can only pick one. Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis.
So you guys I don't ever show my Sega collection, but I actually have a Sega cabinet.
Oh, do you really?
From KB Toy Store in the 90s. I was driving by, and I was driving down the street like probably 10 years ago, and I saw this guy's yard, and he had just a ton of like just crap laying all around in the yard, broke down cars, and it was pouring rain. And I look and I see, I don't know how I see this, but I see the Sega logo like on the top of this cabinet, and I'm just like, did I see that right? So I turn around, it's pouring rain, and I get out, man, and I kind of like go up into his yard, because I was like, is this like an abandoned house? I didn't know what was.
Yeah.
So I walk up in there, and the guy comes out with like a flashlight. He's like, what are you doing here? And I was like, how much you want for this? How much you want for the cabinet? And he was just like, oh, that thing's a piece of crap, but it had perfect glass doors on it still with the Sega logo.
Damn.
I remember I restored it, and I actually I was going to talk about it on the channel, but I took a bunch of photos, and my buddy Trevor helped me restore it. And man, it's incredible. But I don't show it off much, but it's full of Genesis games.
That's awesome, man.
I grew up with the Genesis. I never had one until later on, but my uncle was lucky enough to have a Super Nintendo and a Genesis.
He had both. Wow.
Yeah, and it was cool because we never had to pick. We never had to, have those schoolyard fights of which system was better, because we were playing games on both, and I was like, I loved Final Fight, but then again, I freaking loved Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Dude, I think I need to see if your uncle wants to be my uncle too.
Yeah, it's weird because he's only a couple years older than me. It's an odd thing. He's only like 3.5 years older.
Oh wow!
Oh, so you guys just
like a lot older, but he was only actually 3.5 years. So we grew up real close, and man, just playing the Genesis was huge. There were so many great games. Co-op was the way we went a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Just we didn't like sitting and watching unless it was like something like Zelda or something incredibly, immersive.
Yeah.
We loved Road Rash. Played the hell out of Road Rash.
That's
games,
a great game.
Yeah, the Genesis is incredible. And then we go to the Super Nintendo, which the Super Nintendo, it blows my mind on how cool that console is still. Like when I had it, when we were younger, just the games alone, people are finding out now that these games that were out back then, especially RPGs, are some of the best that were ever created.
Yeah.
And to be fair, huge RPG guy. I was more of like WWF wrestling, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, co-op games like Contra, and Rocky, Turtles in Time, things like that. So I didn't play a lot of RPGs. I loved the console just for the other types of games, like platformers, and it has the best launch title ever, Super Mario World, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's such a good game.
I was so disappointed when it got knocked out. I was like, oh, no way. But yeah, that's tough. I had a lot of memories with both systems. Something about the Genesis just made you feel cooler. I remember
it has an edge to it.
Yeah, because when he had, I would go to school and I'd say, man, I played the Genesis this weekend, and they were just like, you were almost like on a pedestal. If you've ever seen that movie that they just came out with, where the dude was like super cool doing the karate, was an 8-bit Christmas, and it felt like that. You felt like you were a cool kid playing the Sega Genesis, because that's how they, marketed the system. It was an incredible marketing idea, and it just worked, man. So I love the Genesis, but the Super Nintendo, that's it. I love the NES, but the Super Nintendo is my favorite console of all time. And I'm still finding games now that I can't believe I didn't play when I was a kid, because you don't play them all when you're a kid, you never played Metal Warriors, or you never played some of these great games that just exist.
Yep.
And it's especially RPGs, because I never really got into those, but that system is an insane banger for RPGs. So
for sure,
I had to pick one. I can only pick one. I don't know, man. I love Super Mario World, so I'm gonna have to go with the Super NES.
Wow, right. Super Nintendo. That was a tough one.
Yeah, that is a tough call right there. We got a couple more here. I know you're way into both these franchises, and you just kind of gave one of them a tug in that last conversation. Zelda or Mario, and you can only pick one.
Lord. Okay, so man, that's why. So I'm a huge fan of both.
Yeah.
And to me, Super Mario World it's in the top 5 games of all time, and it's in probably everybody's, but it's in like the top 1 or 2 for me. It's an incredible game. So that's tough.
Yeah, and this includes all games,
Link to the Past is great. I was a big fan of Wind Waker. I'm one of the few people who liked Adventures of Link when I was younger, and I played it. Man, it was so tough. It was so just different from the formula that you had to have Nintendo Power or something like that to help you, and just all the schoolyard gossip and lingo and that we would try to use to find out what to do on that game the game was really cryptic. But now you go back and play it, it's actually playable if you not exactly know what to do, but your mind's a lot different from when you were 7.
Yeah.
You process things a little bit better. So, man, that's tough. I like Mario 3. Mario 3 is a great game. A lot of people think that's the best Mario game ever, but I will argue that. Man, Breath of the Wild's incredible.
Breath of the Wild, but then Mario Odyssey is pretty great.
Yeah, Odyssey's good. A huge fan of Galaxy 2.
Oh, that's a great game.
I mean, that's a toughie. I don't. Oh man, I think that's close. I was gonna say I think there's been better, Zelda games than there were Mario games. But it's pretty similar. It's pretty close.
Yeah.
Dang, that's tough. I remember playing Link to the Past with my cousin Travis, man, and we would just be hours on end just trying to figure out what to do without any help. And the game was kind of cryptic if you didn't know what to do when
you're just trying to figure it out.
It's funny because a couple times we would soft lock the game because we would go and try to use the mirror in the wrong spot, and it would just mess the game up. Just you wouldn't think you could do that back then, but it's funny right before you guys got a hold of me, my buddy texted me on the phone. I was like, oh no, I'm trying to do this, interview. And he's like, how do you get through the Star World and Super Mario World?
Yeah.
So, I mean, people are still playing Super Mario World. So, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to go with, Zelda.
What? Dang. Wow. Okay.
I think Links in the Past is almost a 10. I mean, if it ain't a 10, it's 9.99. So, but I think the Zelda games are super immersive.
Yeah.
It's all about the atmosphere and the story. Mario's more of a pick up and play type of game, except for maybe Odyssey and Galaxy 2. There's a little there. But I feel when I always played Zelda, I felt I was in the world, and that's what I love about games, is if they can take me from everyday life into something that makes me feel comfortable and I'm super into it. That's what I love about gaming, and I think Zelda has done that more times than Mario
Yeah.
has for me.
Dude, that's so shocking because you love Super Mario World.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, he's gonna freaking pick Mario.
Yeah, I mean, I love Super Mario World. This box, it's such a hard box to find, and every time I see it on the shelf, I'm just like, man, I'm just so. I picked it up when I did. I remember the guy that was selling it to me. He was like, "Man, you're never gonna find a better deal," and he was like sending me messages, and I was just like, I don't know, because I'm cheap. And
Yeah.
this was kind of, this was years ago. This is when the game wasn't worth a whole lot.
Yeah.
And, I'm super glad I did. I've looked up some recent sales, and it's just like these prices are going crazy.
Yeah,
so
they're out of
crazy.
control. There's no doubt about it.
Wow.
So
Zelda.
Hey, I like it. I like it. You know, and
Zelda.
I would say too, on Zelda's behalf is, I think it's a pretty level playing field when you're talking about console games, but
Yes.
I think Zelda mops the floor with Mario in the handheld scene.
oh yeah,
Oh,
without a doubt.
Yeah. So
I mean, I remember playing that and being immersed in a little screen that was black and white. It was
yeah.
crazy. I felt like I was just at home playing it. It wasn't like it took me out of the element or anything. And even the new one for the Switch, the remake, is just
Yep.
it's really good.
Yeah,
it's really
it is.
Well, that kind of ties into the next Elimination Chamber question. Are you
All right.
ready for this one?
I'm ready.
Handheld gaming or console gaming?
Oh man, dang! I love the 3DS. I played a crap ton of it. I love the PSP the original
Ooh,
PSP.
PSP's awesome.
I played the absolute crap out of that thing. Oh man. The Switch, to me, like, I guess the Switch would be considered a handheld.
Well, if you
Have
pick the Switch in handheld, you can never play it docked.
Okay, man, because Breath of the Wild looks incredible.
Yeah.
Man, oof,
We did pretty good.
dude, this is tough. Oh man, I love handheld gaming. I love just picking up a game anywhere and playing it,
Yeah.
and it takes you right there. You're not
Just sucked
wherever
in.
you are in the game. So, man, that's super tough. The console gaming, man, console gaming has been a part of me for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just looking around at all the console games. I'm just like, I mean, like PlayStation 1. I mean, just everything. I'm a huge Dreamcast guy. I like Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We've been trying to
man.
get our buddy Megadan into the Dreamcast. He doesn't like it, but I mean, he always says I haven't played it a ton, so he doesn't like. He's just aware that he didn't play it a bunch, and so we're always trying to find dingers to like say, hey, you need to play this.
One of the craziest, I mean, just, when you grow up and you remember times that you played games, one of the more clear memories I have was, I bought a Dreamcast on day one, $99.99.
Hell yeah.
And I remember playing Shenmue, and I don't think I could be any more involved in a game.
Yeah.
I would check every drawer. I would buy every gumball. I did everything that I would go to work. If you ever played the game, it's totally immersive.
It is. For the time, it was so different than anything that had came out. Like, it was crazy.
Down the pond, and I would just like talk to people. I wouldn't even play the game. I would do everyday stuff.
Yeah.
And every time my mom would be mad when I got home late. It was just that experience. I just remember because your mom gets upset when you're late in the game.
Yeah.
But that story really grabbed me, like your dad, and it's just the cinematics were incredible. The game was incredible. I just wish that would have carried the Dreamcast a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Helped push it.
It was a killer app for it, and it sucked because I was a huge Dreamcast guy. Man, that's tough. I'm gonna have to go with console gaming.
Okay.
I figured that's where you would go.
Yeah, I mean, just if portable gaming was a little more multiplayer friendly,
Oh yeah.
I would be. I love multiplayer. I love couch co-op. I do like to switch because some of the games are only couch co-op,
Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome.
really cool. Yes, I love just hanging out and playing with people in one room rather than playing online. I like Xbox, I like Live and Game Pass and all that also, but I love sitting beside somebody with a controller and just...
Oh, nothing's better than talking smack in a room and being able to unplug someone's controller and...
Yeah, hell yeah, definitely.
Wow.
All right. We have one more in the chamber.
Okay.
This is a triple threat match.
Yeah, this is the first time we've ever done a triple threat, so get ready.
Oh, wow.
You got to pick video games, which is a big part of your channel, toys, which is a big part of your channel, or movies.
Oh. You only pick one?
Yes.
You can only pick one.
Oh, Lord. Dude, that's insane. I'm looking around like if something was eliminated, like no games or no toys or no movies, like...
Yeah, it would feel empty.
Movies were huge. So there was a little rental store that rented movies really cheap back in the late 80s, early 90s. And you could rent like the older movies, like 2 for $1.
Nice.
Damn.
And you get them like all weekend. So we'd go on Friday and we'd have a single $1 and we'd rent 2 bangers, like just any awesome 80s movie we would rent over and over, Alien or The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh yeah. I just watched that recently. Again, I love that movie.
Like, the seat, there's no CGI, it's like animatronics are kind of dated, but it's cool because it leaves a mystery.
Yeah.
Like the movie's old, I don't want to spoil it anyway, but you just don't know who it is. It's like what's Kurt Russell doing here? So incredible movie. Oh man, movies, games, or toys. Man, I can't believe y'all hit me with that one. That's cold-blooded.
Yeah.
Yikes. I'm trying to think of like which one I could live without. One I can't live without. Man. I think No, I don't think. I don't know. I'm skeptical now. I think I'm going to have to go, if I could only pick one, it would have to be video games.
Okay.
Damn.
Okay.
That's tough.
It is tough.
It was between that and toys, and I'm just like, I'm a huge toy fan. So video games. I think growing up where I grew up in the neighborhood that I did, at the time era that I did, they kept me out of a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And it kept me, in the house. I did things outside, but it kept me out of a lot of shit. I'm glad that they're there, and I don't think I would be here if it wasn't for them, because they got me through tough times. Most people just play them, but I really feel like these things they're like a drug, I guess. They're something that just helps me escape, and
they're a great escape.
Not doing it. I mean, I'm almost 40, and I could not imagine not playing. Like I work with people, and they're just like, oh, we go to hang out at the bar, we go to football games, or they don't. Very few of them are like, I just sit down and play, Super Nintendo. Like they don't understand, So, I'm gonna have to go with video game.
That's a good answer, because like some video games are very like cinematic experiences, so that could like fill the movie void. And then
I ever played like the original. It's funny, the original Metal Gear Solid got a 10 in EGM back in the day. And I just remember playing that, and that was one of the earlier games. That and Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil for PS. It in your mind, it wasn't corny. In my mind, it was like, this is a movie. Like,
dude, when you first played that game back in the day, you were like, holy hell.
My first experience, I got a really shitty PS1 because I had an N64, but my uncle gave me this really shitty PS1 with one controller and disc 1 of Metal Gear Solid, no memory card.
Just disc 1.
I played all the way through disc 1 in one sitting, and then I had to call a friend that lived clear on the other side of town and be like, bro, can you bring me disc 2?
Yes.
And so then I left it on, and it was like the next day after school, his mom drove him by, and he dropped that disc off, and then I will never forget how in love I fell with that game.
Yeah, that was one of those games where I was just like, this is a movie. I felt like I was in this. I was, Snake. I was trying to replace. Like, I really felt. I mean, the cinematics were incredible. It
sucks you in.
The game holds up. Yeah.
What's crazy is you put it in today and you start the game up and you're like, oh, this kind of looks rough. It doesn't age. But then once you get into the game, that stuff goes away. You're so sucked into the story and it's so good.
You can do to like create like time paradoxes and stuff. If you get really into the game, you can do it. Like, if you played Snake Eater, have you played that?
Oh yeah, yep. That's one of my favorite games ever.
So there's a part in the game where at the beginning you see the end, which is the guy in the wheelchair.
Yep.
Right. Well, if it's a cinema, but as soon as the cinema ends, it gives you control, but you're like really far away from him.
But you can get him. I've done it.
You're actually sniping. And then later on, when you're in the like the trees in the area where you fight them, there's just a bunch of guards because they're looking for the guy that killed them.
Yeah.
You don't even have to fight him, and there's like ways to outlast him. Like you can change the time on your console to like 10 years later, and you'll find him dead. You'll walk up in the cinema, and he's dead.
See, that's like, so cool. So innovative.
He's just a genius. So I remember doing all that stuff and playing all the Metal Gears.
Oh yeah, dude. In 3, my favorite thing to do is if you find Ivan, who looks like Raiden. If you find his locker, which it's really funny because it's got his uniform and a mask of him. Yeah. And if you put it on when you're fighting Volgan like walks in and goes, "Ivan, is that you?" Yeah. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's so cool. There was I want to say it was Metal Gear Solid 2. If you beat it, there was a mode called Extreme or European Extreme mode. And the only way, there's like not an achievement, but like basically you had to shake down everybody's to get their dog tag.
Whoa.
Nice.
And me and my cousin Travis played and got everybody's dog tag. And there's only one area in the game where you can shake down Snake and get his when you're playing as Raiden. And it took us forever to find that because I was like, because it doesn't show you what's missing. It just has a question mark. Yeah. And I was like, miss anybody. So he's just kept, and I was like, I wonder if you can actually get Snake's tag. And he's like, no way. So every scenario we found ourselves with him, we tried to do it. And there's a special way to do it. And that was one of the greatest accomplishments when we got that 100%. I couldn't believe it. So
yeah, if I remember right, in that game, they don't. There's not a common frequency of when they drop their tags. Like you have to pick them up, lay them down, and they don't always come out.
No, you can shake them down. They would say, "Oh, I don't know anything," or then they'll just sit there, and then most time you just kill them. Well, you can actually they'll say, "I don't know anything," and then you pull like a different weapon out, and he'd be like, "Oh, okay." Then they'll shake it. Like you'll pull out like a bigger weapon, and they're like, "All right, you got me." Yeah. Like there's a ton of scenarios like that, and it's crazy too because if you're seen on that mode, it restarts on the Extreme European mode. So you have to sneak everybody, get everybody's tag, and you can't have the alert status.
Damn.
So it's like you can't just run through the game and get everybody. It's literally 100% stealth. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was one of the best gaming feats me and him ever did. We were just I can't believe we just did that. So
that is killer, man. That is awesome. Well, how do you feel, man? Are you ready to get out of the hot seat here? I think we had some good ones for you.
Dude, I watched a couple of these, and it's funny because most people's channels, they focus on games. With mine, it's a Asha thing. So hit me with that triple threat. I was like, oh no, pull something like that on me. So, dang, that's wild. I really appreciate you guys doing it in games.
Oh yeah, we'll have to have you back on, man. I mean, if you want to come back on and throw one of us in the chamber, or both of us, come up with 5 or 6 questions, we could definitely do that. Or maybe we just have a little wrestling roundtable and just shoot the shit sometime about some old school WWF stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Definitely. I love old school especially NWA or late '80s, early '90s WWF, and then the Attitude Era. So I watch it now, but I watched it. I mean, when you're a teenager and that's all you had to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Watched it all day. So.
Awesome
Definitely.
stuff, man. Well, you were great. We appreciate you joining us for this round of the Elimination Chamber. For anybody who hasn't checked out Retro Reminiscence channel, make sure you check it out. There will be a link in the description below. Go watch some of his vids and hang out. As you guys can tell, he's a really awesome dude. We will see everybody next time right here on Gaming Off the Grid.
So when I got Xbox Live, I was one of the original things. Like I have an Xbox now, and I'm a 20-year member. Like they just had the 20-year, and I actually have like the badge. And
holy crap!
They sent me some stuff for being an original member.
Damn, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was early on, but I remember when I first got it, there was you used to get like a headset. And you get like a little brochure when you got Xbox Live. It come in a little box, and you would open it up, and it came with the headset to talk with. Well, there was a little book, and I remember getting Xbox Live, and it would say, on Mondays it would be fighting games, and then you'd flip the page, and it would say Tuesdays would be racing games. So being not an online gamer is my first time. I would play only those games on those days. I went to like work, and the dude was like, "Hey man, you want to play some like Unreal Tournament?" Was it Unreal Tournament? I think it was Unreal Tournament. Or
and you're like, "No, we can't today."
Yeah, we don't do it on Tuesdays.
Yeah, I was like, "No, dude, it's Thursday." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "First person shooter Friday," and he was just like, "What are you talking about?" You can't play today. He's like, "You can play any game anytime," and I was just like,
"You're like, what?" How long did that happen? Like, how long did you think that?
It was probably like 3 months. Cause every time I would get on, I would look and I'd be like, "Oh, it's Tuesday. Like, what is it?" And I'd look and it's like racing. I was like, "Man, I wanted to play Street Fighter today." So I'd like just play racing games. And then I didn't know that for like 3 months because nobody had online with it. So